So for seminar 7, we're looking at this idea of, so we're looking at shares, risks and returns and correlation as well. So question 1 saying, so this guy has some money that he wants to invest and he's got 3 shares that he believes are good investments. And so they've told us our risk, return and our correlation. So these are our shares. So we've got share A, share B, share C, and we've got risks. So for share A, for example, we've got a risk of 4%, we've got a return of 7%, and then we've got some correlations here. This is where all our correlations are. And the first question is basically saying, calculate the return and the risk of the following portfolios. And the first bit they want us to look at is if your portfolio basically has half of your portfolio is share A and half of your portfolio is share B, and they want us to work out the return and the risk of the following portfolios. So we basically need to look at 2 formulas for return and risk that we basically have to memorize because they won't give it to us in the exam. So this is your return. So this is your return formula. Your return formula is basically weight of your first share multiplied by the return of your first share, in brackets, plus weight of your second share multiplied by the return of your second share. And this is your return formula. And then you've got your risk formula here. And the risk formula is basically the square root of the weight of your first share squared multiplied by the risk of your first share squared plus the weight of the second share squared multiplied by the risk of the second share squared plus 2 multiplied by both weights multiplied by both risks multiplied by correlation. And the weight, basically what the weight is basically like, okay, so I've got share A and share B. Say my portfolio is made up of 60% share A and 40% share B. So your 60% is the weight of your first share, and then the 40% will be the weight of your second share. So that's basically just explaining the concept. So let's do it. So we've got half in share A, half in share B for 1i. So 1i, and then let's get down the formula, the return formula. So return equals weight 1 multiplied by return 1 plus weight 2, weight of your second share, weight 2 multiplied by return 2. That's your return. And then your risk is the square root of your weight 1 squared multiplied by your risk 1 squared multiplied by the weight 2 squared multiplied by the risk 2 squared plus 2 weight 1 weight 2 risk 1 risk 2 risk 1 risk 2, and then the correlation between your first and your second share. And all of this is square rooted. So let's look at I. So that's the formula. So we're looking at I. So we're looking at I, and I is telling us, well, I is telling us that we've got half in share A and half in share B, and this is our portfolio. So share A is here and share B is here. And our risk and our return for share A is this. So half in share A, half in share B. So portfolio equals 50% share A, 50% share B, and then share A, for share A, so we've got 50% weight, our return equals 7%, and our risk equals 4%. The risk equals 4%. And that's all here in the question, share A, risk, return. So for share B, again 50% weight to make up 100% of the portfolio. The return for share B is 10%. Return equals 10%. And the risk for share B equals 8%. Okay, and now so the first thing they want us to work out. So in the question, the first thing they want us to work out is calculate the return and then calculate the risk. So calculate the return, calculate the risk. So the return, so our first bit's the return. So our return, we know the formula, weight 1, weight in our first share A, the weight of our share A is 50%, so 0.5. So the formula, weight of the first one multiplied by the return of the first share plus the weight of the second share multiplied by the return of the second share. So we've got 0.5, so we've got 50% in share A, and the return of share A is 7%, so multiplied by 0.07, plus the weight of our second share, which is share B. We've got 50% in that one again, so 0.5. So this is all weighted, and our return is 10%, so multiplied by 0.1. So that means our return equals, if you put it into the calculator, so 0.5 multiplied by 0.07 plus 0.5 multiplied by 0.1 equals 0.085. So the return for question I, for part I, equals 8.5%. Then we want to look at the risk. So to look at the risk, we're looking at square root of the weight 1 squared multiplied by the risk 1 squared, weight 2 squared, risk 2 squared, weight 1, weight 2, risk 1, risk 2 in correlation. So square root, so the first weight is, we already know, 0.5, weight 1 squared, so 0.5 squared, 0.5 squared, multiplied by the risk of the first one squared, so risk of share A, 4% squared, 0.04 squared, plus weight 2 squared, 0.5 squared, multiplied by the risk of the second one squared, so the risk of share B, 8% squared, add, and all of this is under the square root, and the third bit here, 2, weight 1, weight 2, risk 1, risk 2, so 2, weight 1, 0.5, weight 2, weight for share B, 0.5, risk of the first one, 0.04, risk of the second one, 0.08, and then the last bit is the correlation between 1 and 2. So we're looking at share A and share B, half in share A, half in share B. So because we're starting off with share A, so share A then share B. So we're looking here, we're starting at the A bit, share A and B, between A and B, 0.75. So the correlation is 0.75 multiplied by 0.75. This is all under the square root as well. So the square root equals, so we want to do it in 3 sections. So when we're doing it in the calculator, we want to do this bit first, do this bit second, and then do this bit here. So the first bit, 0.5 squared multiplied by 0.04 squared equals 0.0004. So the square root of 0.0004. Add the second bit, 0.5 squared multiplied by 0.08 squared equals 0.0016, so add 0.0016, and then our third bit, 2 times by 0.5 times by 0.5 times by 0.04 times by 0.08 times by our correlation, 0.75, equals 0.0012. Add 0.0012, that's our 3 values. So we're square rooting, add those 3 values up, 0.0004 plus 0.0016 plus 0.0012 equals 0.0032. So we're looking at the square root of 0.0032, and this equals the square root of 0.0032. Square root of 0.0032 equals 0.057 equals 0.057. So our risk equals 5.7%. So our risk is 5.7%, our return is 8.5%, and that is part I done. Part II, this time we've got half in share A, half in share C, so 50%, this is our portfolio, so our portfolio is 50% share A, 50% share C. So again, share A, our weight is 50%, our return is 7%, and our risk is 4%. This time we're looking at share C as well, 50% in share C. And so that's half in share A, half in share A, half in share C. So 50% in share C. The return of share C is 16%. Return equals 16%. The risk equals 11%. That is all here. Risk is 11%. And then again, return formula. So working out return, the return formula, we already know what it is. Weight 1. So the weight of share A, 0.5, multiplied by the return in share A, 7%, 0.07, plus the weight in share C, 0.5, 50% in share C, 0.5, multiplied by the return in share C, 0.16. Put this in a calculator. 0.5 multiplied by 0.07 plus 0.5 multiplied by 0.16, 0.16 equals 0.115, and that equals 11.5% return. 11.5% return. And now we want to look at our risk. So the thing is you have to memorize these formulas because they won't give them to you, so you just got to sort of try and remember them. So again, square root for risk, we're square rooting. We're doing weight of share A, so 0.5 squared, multiplied by the risk, in share A, 4%, 0.04 squared, weight in share C, 0.5 squared, multiplied by the risk in share C, 0.11 squared, plus 2 times by both weights, times by both risks, times by the correlation. So again, this time we're looking half in share A, half in share C. So we're starting at share A, so we're looking at share A between A and C, minus 0.5. So our risk is, so our correlation is minus 0.5. So we're multiplying by minus 0.5 at the end. All of this is under the square root. Get it into 3 bits. 0.5 squared multiplied by 0.04 squared, which equals 0.0004 plus 0.5 squared multiplied by 0.11 squared equals 0.003025. And then that last bit, 2 times by 0.5 times by 0.5 times by both our risks, 0.04 multiplied by 0.11 multiplied by minus 0.5. Altogether equals minus 0.0011. So we're not adding, minus 0.0011. So we're square rooting 0.0004 plus 0.003025 minus 0.0011 equals 0.002325 square root of 0.002325, and this equals square root equals 0.0482. So the risk equals 4.82%. Okay.